Hey guys, it's Deo Taiwan, and we're here to do another coaster review. This one being one of the most legendary roller coasters ever built. It is called The Beast at Kings Island. Not to be mistaken by Wild Beast at Canada's Wonderland. Um, the Beast came opened in April 14th, 1979, with a cost of $3.2 million, and it was built by Kings Island staff. So it was built by Al Collins, Jeff Gramke, and Charles Dinn. So Charles Dinn did some of the work for the Beast, and who actually built the ride was Al Collins and Jeff Gramke. They were the park's engineers at the time, and to this day, it's the longest wooden roller coaster in the world. When it first opened, it was one of the tallest roller coasters in the world, and it was the longest, tallest, and fastest wooden roller coaster when it opened back in 1979. The Beast is now the longest wooden roller coaster in the world with 7,359 feet of wooden track. That's a long ride. And it's a long ride. The height is 110 feet tall, and the drop is 141 feet. And it has two lift hills, and it has, the other one is 141 feet, the other one is 110 feet. So it's a pretty long ride, and you're on there for around 4 minutes and 10 seconds. It has two chain lift hills, and it is considered a terrain coaster. So what that means is that it goes into the woods with a bunch of trees and hills. So when coaster is on hills and whatnot, it's called a terrain coaster. And in 2004, it was a roller coaster landmark by American Coaster Enthusiasts, also known as ACE. So it's considered one of the most popular roller coasters ever built. It was there to pay homage to the Shooting Star ride that used to be at Coney Island Amusement Park back in Cincinnati, Ohio. And they decided, you know what? When Kings Island first opened in 1972, they built this ride that opened with it called the Racer, and they were like, you know what? Let's do something big. So that's how the Beast at Kings Island came to be. So to this day, it's still the longest wooden roller coaster in the world, and it's crazy to believe how long ago. And it's now 41 years old, and it's still running good. So I'm gonna give you my first ever, opinion on the ride. So let's start with the ride experience. So the ride begins with the train making a 180-degree turn out of the station, traveling near the now defunct Vortex's first drop, and through a switch track, which provides the option of diverting trains into a covered storage area. Riders take a slight left turn into the first lift hill, and this lift hill moves pretty slow, but that's because the second train has to clear the second lift hill, so there's no collision on the ride for safety reasons, of course. And then it slowly climbs 100 feet in the air at the crest, and then it goes down a 135-foot drop into an underground tunnel, passing an on-ride camera. So when you first ride it for your first time, just to let you know, there's a camera at the bottom of the first drop when you're about to go into that underground tunnel. You come out of that, you exit the tunnel where it makes a hard left turn, and it enters a little airtime hill, but it's kind of trim. It has a few trim breaks on the ride, which is probably my only complaint. And it goes into one airtime hill, going under the second lift, and the train then climbs up and then makes a right turn and speeds into a covered brake shed straight track. So it just has a straight track, and then you hit one more trim break, then you turn right and continues through a heavy wooded area, veering left and right and whatnot, and you enter the second tunnel. The core of this tunnel is underground, so even though the exit is above ground in relation, it's part of land. As it exits the other tunnel, the train continues and turns right, and then does another hard turn to the right on a slight incline, and then the track goes downhill, rises uphill, and then passes over a set of trim brakes again, and then before climbing the second lift hill. So this ride has 2 chain lifts because it's on a big hill. So they decided to come up with a second chain lift, and yeah, it's really, really cool. And so it goes back up. It goes up to the next lift hill, which I believe is, yeah, after the top of the lift hill, the second lift hill, sorry, it turns left and begins going through an 18-degree drop, and you're about to go turn to the left and going up to this double helix, which is really impressive. It's a really, in my opinion, the best part of the ride for me. And it goes to the crest, it goes through that helix, the signature double helix, and it features 2 long tunnels and turns riders counterclockwise twice at very high speeds while ascending, and then exit. And then after they're done that element, the train dips through 1 small hill into the final brake run into the station. So it is a very long ride. Now, I'm going to give you my personal opinion on it. We're going to do a few little categories. For airtime, I'm giving it a 1. There's like no airtime on this ride. Only like one little small part, but that's like on the first drop, so nothing really to shout at. For duration, I'm definitely giving it a 10 for a long ride. Length, definitely giving it a 10. Good long ride. Smoothness, I'm giving it an 8 or 9 out of 10. It's pretty smooth for an old coaster. It does have some bumpy parts, but it doesn't bother me at all. Some people say it's rough. I don't think it's rough at all. Not even close. I don't even think it deserves the hate. But if I have to say one complaint with the ride is that it has a lot of trim brakes. It's there for a reason. It's to make sure, the ride is safe, making sure nobody gets hurt, no train collision, no anything like that, no danger parts on the ride. So it's just to prevent safety, but it loses a lot of its speed, and it does not have airtime hills. So if you're a fan of airtime hills, do not ride the Beast. But if you're a fan of, like a wooden coaster that goes into the woods and just has straight track, like just has its own thing. And this coaster was homemade. It was made by Kings Island staff guys. It wasn't made by B&M. It wasn't made by Intamin. It wasn't made by GCI. The Beast opened doors. And fun fact, Charles Din, who was working at Kings Island at the time that was working on the Beast, he owned his other company later on down the road, somewhere in the late 80s, early 90s, called the Din Corporation. Had some good coasters, had some bad ones, and some of them are now owned by Rocky Mountain Construction Rides. So it really opened the doors for a lot of other wooden coasters and other big coasters out there in the world too. It was also constructed a bit by Curtis D. Summers. He helped build the Beast 2, and fun fact, he built Wild Beast at Wonderland and Mindbuster at Wonderland, and the 2 Grizzlies, one at California's Great America and one at King's Dominion, so that's pretty cool too. So my overall opinion on the Beast is that it's actually a fun ride. If you go in with the right expectations, you will actually kind of enjoy it. It's a really overrated roller coaster. Many enthusiasts talk how amazing it is, and I can understand, but at the same time, I've ridden better roller coasters than that. So I appreciate the history of it, and I love the ride. I do like it, but it's not my favorite coaster. Like, it's not my favorite wooden coaster. I still like El Toro better. To rank it at Kings Island, either maybe number 2 or number 3 in the park. Not 100% sure, but it's a fun ride. Yeah, my only complaint is just the trim brakes. It doesn't have that much airtime, but I mean, for speed, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Or 6 out of 10? Yes, 7 out of 10, sorry. Yeah, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 because it has some speed moments, but for me, the back row is the best seat in the ride. Front is okay, but you can really feel those trim brakes a lot, but in the back, you don't really feel them at all. So, like, you can feel them, but not as much. And it's still considered the world's longest wooden roller coaster, so it's pretty amazing of how good it is. So it's a really fun ride. I highly recommend that if you go to Kings Island, don't go in with too much high expectations, because You know, it is pretty overrated for a wooden roller coaster. It is one of the most overrated coasters I've ridden. But when you look past it, it's actually a fun ride. And if you go with the right expectations that that's a homemade roller coaster and it was built by two guys that never built a roller coaster before, it's pretty cool. It's like if I built a coaster before, or you built one. It's pretty fun. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, back row, best part of the ride. For an overall rating, I'm definitely gonna give it a 7 out of 10. It is a fun ride. Yeah, it has its moments, but you know what? It's a fun ride. And the night ride is amazing. Night ride, I'm giving it like a 10 out of 10 for night rides because it feels like you're not even riding the Beast. It feels like you're riding something else. But for the overall experience for the Beast, I'm actually giving it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. It's pretty good. Like I said, for the Beast, it's a fun ride. Highly recommend you go to Kings Island. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, just enjoy the ride, you know? It's pretty overrated, but you know, it's a fun ride. It's a fun thrill ride for everybody. So yep, this is the Beast at Kings Island. Let me know what you think of the Beast in the comments below, and let me know what you think of the ride. All right, have a good one, guys. Bye.